Good evening, fine people. Welcome back to JSR. And after an interesting trip to Spa-Francorchamps, we now head from the forest of Belgium to the floodlit streets of Jeddah for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Last time out, of course, we were in Belgium, like I said, and it gave us another brilliant race. And after coming close in the opening rounds, it was finally Kevin Sunderberg who converted his pace into victory. From pole position, he controlled the race superbly, managed the strategy really well, and didn't let a van get close to him either at the last part of the Grand Prix. And it was him who took a stable drive for the Dutchman. And let's see if the Ferrari driver could continue, reminding everybody that he's still a force to be reckoned with in the championship fights. And there was another fantastic story behind him as well, as Ivan secured his first ever JSR podium, producing an outstanding drive to finish, and one result that I'll never forget either. And his confidence will start to build up from there and for the rest of the season too. So let's see if he can try and build up some momentum. Is it me, or is nobody coming out of the pit lane? Is everybody still in the pit lane for some reason? Nobody is wanting to come out, so it looks like everybody else is running a bit shy and not coming out of the pit lane. I hope it's not a visual glitch or something, because it's quite unusual. Sometimes, well, the majority of the time, you'll see everybody dashing out the pit lane to get their first runs in, but for some reason, it looks like nobody wants to go out. Hopefully it's not a glitch, but I hope we get some drivers on the grids very, very shortly to kick-start this qualifying. Is anybody want to come out? Give us some entertainment. Is there a thing in Jeddah where people just want to stay in the garage or something? I can't hear any engines firing up. Am I even? I'm not quite sure what is going on. Is it a 1 minute silence or somebody's passed away? Because that's what usually happens if somebody passes away. We have a 1 minute silence. But I don't think nobody. Oh, my Milan's off the session, so something has happened already. Oh, they're all in the loaded screen, so it looks like I arrived to the track earlier than everybody else, and I'm the only one who could see the garage, whereas everybody else is still stuck in the loaded screen. That's a shame. There is some glitches, of course, on this new DLC, so not really a great start to the session. It looks like we're going to have to restart, but it looks like nobody is coming out on the track. Neymar Jr., everybody, has left the session. Right then, it looks like we'd have to take a short break and go for it again, as the session has been restarted and things will start to reset again. So after all the hype and anticipation, it will start quietly crashing down. Alright, everybody, take two. Let's go again, shall we? So, welcome back to the stream. My name is Jamie Morris. I didn't get to properly introduce myself, but hopefully, there's no more bugs in the shoes and we can presume racing or qualifying once again. So, Fast Street Circuit on the calendar, but in terms of battery, we're going to see a lot of drivers managing the battery and depleting, and what's the word? Super clipping down the streets as well. So drivers have got to manage their batteries sufficiently and use it at the right times. So we've got some drivers that are making their way out on the circuit. Let me just my volume because the cars are very, very loud. So just bear with me for 1 second. Yeah, my game volume was very loud, but we are back there. So let's see who should we go on board with first. I think we should go on board with the Cadillac. He was the first one out on the circuit, so that could be Ryan Benink there in the Cadillac. No, it's not. It's his teammate Mick Timmy. Ryan Benink had a perfect outing back at the Belgian Grand Prix. Scored P4. He was fighting with Sasha for the podium. Sasha is here in P12. He is under the name of Just Hood, which means just good, in the Audi there as well. He was leading the championship, but Kevin Zuckerberg is starting to home in on the championship leader. Now he's got some momentum going and the ball rolling for his season, where he's had a bit of a controversial start in, I think it was Qatar, and also on the Monaco Grand Prix, but resets in Belgium, and hopefully he can get the ball rolling and see how he performs. So, Timmy, the Dutchman, on his outlap in the Cadillac, as we now make our way towards 21 and 22. He's actually going for it, trying to warm the tyres as much as he can, because the tyre warm can be a bit difficult too. The optimum working window for the tyres to be in the working range is about 85-90 degrees, so we might see some people do a double outlap, but depending if the drivers can get the tyres up to temperature, gives it a wide berth and boosts the throttle. We're watching Timmy now on his flying lap with the straight mode activated there and the battery being used on the straights, as we now make our way down towards turn 1. We go spotted the braking zone, which is the black box on the right hand side, down to the gears, into first, into second corner, nicely done, smooth on the apex, third gear corner, back on the power once again, as we now make our way through this notorious section of turn 4, where turn 4 can catch a lot of people out. We've seen a lot of crashes on the entry there as well, as you've got to be very precise through that corner whilst having the speed to carry through, as we now dip our way down towards turn 11 and turn 12, leading the curb on the outside there for support before we barrel away in towards turn 13. A 33.305 for the first sector, as we now head down towards turn 13. This banked left-hander as she wants to open up the corner to take the racing line. Now coming through this short complex, the right-hander and left-hander. This can be very tricky too, because it's easily done, hitting the wall on the inside of 13 or 16, sorry, and 17 and 18 too on the outside, where Max Verstappen now already brushed the barriers on the outside, gave it a gentle kiss, and now coming through turn 21 and turn 22. This complex of corners where it can be very difficult. Schumacher and Leclerc and Lawrence Stroll have all crashed there in the past, but we saw Mick Schumacher completely change the trajectory of that race too, when the fireworks kicked off between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Now headed towards the final corner we go. You want to be very tight on the edge there. I think we saw Lando Norris break his suspension on the edge towards turn 27, the final corner, and Max Verstappen also breaking his suspension on the outside, as Mick Timmy, the first one to cross the line. It is going to be a 30.9 for the rest of the drives to beat his teammate in the Cadillac, and the Williams are making their way towards the line. Ralph just beats him, whilst Ryan Benink smashes it at the ballpark there too, for good measure, and he puts some daylight between himself and a second place. Pink Panther in the McLaren goes P2, Leonard goes P3 in the Mercedes then, as every single driver. Look at Kevin Zuckerberg, he's absolutely fantastic, isn't he, in terms of setting the initial benchmark, as Robbie Jacobs goes P3 in, now Stefan goes P2, sorry, and Eric goes P2 with a 28.4. Sasha goes P2, so a lot of people displaced each other very quickly in the session. Ivan goes P7 in the Aston Martin there, so that's the first initial content you'll see then on the lap times. We've still got plenty more to come to try and produce some astonishing lap times there, but the usual suspects are at the top of the timing sheets. We'll see where Fireblaze is. He's headed through the first sector, so started his lap time relatively late compared towards the others. He's not in sync, is he? But we'll see what Fireblaze could do then. A former JSR champion is Fireblaze, and Ben Joke is here too in the Red Bull, and we'll see what the 7-time champion of JSR could do. Of course, I first met him back in Abu Dhabi I think it was 3 seasons ago, and I got to interview him there, speak to him. He's a really nice person, but can be a bit iffy on the track sometimes. He can, you know, get his elbows out aggressively and stir up some drama, but hopefully keeps it nice and clean here in Jeddah. Fireblaze then a 2.1 in the middle sector as he flicks his way now towards 21 and turn 22, that complex of corners where we saw Schumacher crash, like I mentioned earlier on in this session. Schumacher's had a bad record here, you know, Mick Schumacher obviously, as he crashed in turn, I think it was 12 at the exit of that corner in 2022. So it hasn't really been smooth sailing for Schumacher. I don't think he raced in that year too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't exactly remember. But here comes Fireblaze then. It's not a competitive lap time, it's only good enough for P11 there, so plenty of time in hand to be found for Fireblaze as Glowstick now heads towards turn 1 and turn 2. The Scotsman, former driver in Division 2, now promoted to Division 1, is on the other side of the road, other side of the pecking order, unfortunately, with a 30.946 there. So it looks like he needs to find a major improvement. Rotax, sorry, in the Haas goes P4. So decent lap time for him there in the Haas, done 2 laps on those set of soft power tyres, and there's only 4 drivers within a 24 of each other then. So once again, spectacular qualifying there for Kevin Zoderberg, has put a bit of distance between himself and Sasha Hood, his main championship rival. The gap is 0.4 of a second there, as we see Rotax just taking a shortcut back towards the pit lane. As we know, he's completed his second flying lap on those set of soft compound tyres. But this track is notorious. Jeddah is a circuit that demands absolute commitment. It's one of the fastest street circuits in the world, and where drivers just race from inches from the barrier almost every single lap. Qualifying is all about confidence and position, while the race becomes a battle of strategy, time management, and with these new generation of cars, intelligent battery deployment has to be used as well. You can't dump a lot of electrical battery in the first bit in the race. You've got to manage, you've got to save and use it wisely, because if you don't, you'll find yourself a sitting duck in the race if you're not careful. Milan Langer, a former champion, the man with the most wins in JSR, making his way now towards that complex of corners, threading the needle through there as the Dutchman continues all the way down towards turn 27. 8 minutes of this qualifying session has gone past already, so this qualifying session is going rather rapidly as Milan enters the final corner. A bit wobbly, shaky on his back end there, but scoops it up, and we'll see what the Haas man could do. Can he beat his own lap time? The answer is yes, by 1/10 of a second. He won't be satisfied with that lap time, and you've noticed as well, there's a massive field spread in terms of gaps in qualifying, because that's because the people use the battery in different places. Some people know where to use it, some people don't. Some people run out of energy too quickly and therefore won't have towards the end, and that's why you see a massive field spread. But in terms of the race, it's more condensed, it's more bunched up, and that is because people use battery. Well, people lift and coast, which allows other people to stay close. Who's that down the inside? That is the Cadillac going for a cheeky move there on the Red Bull. You don't want to be battling, obviously, to state the obvious in qualify, but I know people like to mess around sometimes in qualifying, have a bit of a fun, but sometimes you can easily make contacts, and as a result you get yourself a 5-place grid penalty. That's something you don't need as well, because qualifying is so important for this race. Track position is absolutely everything around any circuit, really. You know, it can be difficult to overtake, and you don't see many people going from last to first. I'm not really seeing many people attempt the last to first, because it's a lot more difficult now, isn't it? Because you've got to drain your battery to overtake somebody, then sit behind and stay behind for a few laps and save it. So look at these guys, they're just all in close proximity of each other as the Cadillac there goes very wide. Is that Sasha? So these three, line astern, starting their next flying lap. I want to know who the Cadillac is in the background. Is it Ryan Benink? It is not Ryan Benink. It is... who is he? His name is Timmy in the background there. Here we go then, as he goes round turn 2. As we now make our way towards turn 4, I think Dirtier could be a main disturbance as well for the guy behind us, which is the Red Bull driver, and that could be Robbie Jacobs, because Sasha and Robbie Jacobs are in a party. Rotation. Nice to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're doing all right. It's been a long time since we've spoken, but a bit squirrely on the exit there for Robbie Jacobs out of turn 12. Sasha's down in the first sector by 0.3 of a second. No obvious mistakes, but is he pushing on this lap time? Is he using battery anywhere else? Because sometimes you learn as you go along in the qualifying session when and where to deploy battery. So Robbie Jacobs getting a handy tow off his good friend in the Audi, but Sasha, on the other hand, gets a good toe of his teammate. Let's go back on board with him. Here he is then, with the straight line speed, and his teammate giving him a good toe. He's 1/10 up. Well, 1/10 down, but he gained 2/10 compared to the first sector where he lost time. And this is where we'll also pick up the advantage of a slipstream. Down the back straight we go then. His Cadillac teammate is giving a massive favour down the straight as we now head towards the breakers. Here we go. Stevan has done a mighty job. Ivan goes P4 in the Aston Martin with a 28.608. And here comes Sasha. He surely is a challenger for pole position, and the answer is not yet. Well, he's close. He's closer, it must be said. It's a 28.2. Kevin Soderberg is down, so made a mistake somewhere. His teammate is coming through the final corner in the Ferrari there, hooks it up very nicely, gets back on the power, and we'll see where Eric the Dutchman could go. Could Eric take pole? The answer is no, but he gets closer and closer towards his teammate of Kevin Soderberg. Where? Oh, look at that. We can see Rotax good for it. He's 2/10 up in the middle sector, so let's see how his progress unfolds in the last part of the racetrack, where it's only about one proper corner, which is turn of 27, well, 3 quarters actually. So here we are, diving down towards the final corner we go. It's very important to have the rotation through there, and we'll see where Rotax can go as he now makes his way towards the line. It's P4, so mighty improvement there from the Haas driver, and plenty more time to be found in hand. Pink Panther is down in the first sector by 1.6 seconds. Venjo is inside the top 10, so gets ahead of his Belgium teammate of Robbie Jacobs, and he will be pleased because he's not much of a racer these days, you know. He's not really been around for such a long time. Well, he has, but in terms in the previous seasons where he has taken a bit of a hiatus, but he has came back and inside the top 9 or top 10. There's a massive field spread, you know, and it wasn't like this on the old games because it was much more closer condensed. But in terms of this game, a lot of drivers there having different ideologies and philosophies where to use the battery, and having different fundamentals of this game to see where they can deploy the battery to. So it's a massive learning curve for everybody, but it seems like Kevin has mastered the streets of Jeddah, and he's certainly unchallenged at the front of the field. Where is he right now? Let's go on board to see how the Dutchman does in the Ferrari. Let's go back on board. There he is, coming towards the final corner. Can Kevin reach the 27s? We're about to find out now. We can't see if he's up or down in the middle sector, but here he is, powers his way towards that. He cuts the B right now, and it is a pole position provisionally as he raises the bar once again. Kevin Soderberg, 27.965. Do you know what I find funny? Sasha is a Division 1 driver for PSGL. Kevin Soderberg is a PSGL F2 driver, and he's currently 3/10 ahead of him as well. I do believe Kevin and Sasha are somewhat level in terms of pace. Maybe I dare say Kevin Soderberg is a little bit quicker than Sasha. No offense to Sasha, but Kevin's been on it, and I think being an F2 is not the right call. You know, Kevin Soderberg has got an injury to his ankle. I think it's swollen up as he was playing football, I believe it was. But when Kevin fully recovers, he is unstoppable, you know. And I think F2 is not the right place for him. And Kevin, when he puts the practice in, he really delivers. And even when he doesn't practice, he's still absolutely rapid indeed. I think he's put the practice in for Jeddah here tonight. So Sasha has came out relatively early compared towards other people. And we know why that is. That is because if you make a mistake on your first lap, you've always got a contingency to do a second lap because you've got the time on your side. And that is the exact strategy I always go for. I like to come out earlier than other people because I know that I'm not really good when it comes to pressure and delivering those lap times when it matters. So I need those extra laps. I find it incredibly inspiring how some people could just go out there and set lap times lap after lap without making mistakes and still find more time, because towards the end of qualifying everything's on the line, nerves are higher, and the stakes are high too around here in Jeddah, and qualifying will be very important, track position will be very important too. And you notice as well on the last flying laps, the best people who can soak up the pressure deliver the most, and the people who are not really good at pressure in situations like this falter and either make a mistake or invalidate their lap times because you try to find more time, aren't you? obviously, compared to your best. You're trying to find the extra tenth in the braking zone, corners, speed, the different management of battery. But let's go on board with Sasha then, as he opens up his final lap potentially on the straight we go. I don't think Sasha this time will get the benefit of a slipstream, so it's got to be done by himself. Headed through turn 1 and turn 2, cuts the corners very nicely indeed, and let's see how he does through turn 3. It should be an easy corner, easy kink, as now we head towards turn 4 we go. Look at that, counting the speed, threading the needle through these parts. It's very important to keep the foot planted to the floor as we now head towards turn 11 and turn 12 we go. Look at that, nice sweep of the steering wheel. No aggressive steering inputs indeed. It's exactly what you want. 0.4 of a second in the first sector alone. Mighty improvement there for Sasha as he flirts with the barriers on the outside of turn 13. And now coming through this complex, 16 and 17, very challenging corners indeed. 19 drivers now are in this session, so almost a full house. But look at Sasha powering his way through. I wonder what he's got in store for the middle sector. His middle sector is going to be 0.2 up, so he has lost time. But remember, he did have a slipstream on his previous lap time. How he would love to have a slipstream on this lap, because he improves mightily. But on his previous lap time, we saw no obvious mistakes, did we? I think he was just... I'm not quite sure what he was doing in the first set on this last lap. But anyways, it don't matter. Oh, a bit of a moment there. You can see him sliding through the final corner. The tyres are screaming hot. Sasha, can he take pole away? The answer is no. He lost all that momentum, and he was only 3 thousandths quicker in the last sector, and that was his improvement. So unfortunately for him, he only improved marginally. Look at Kevin Sutterberg. Who's that behind us? Who is it? Is that Venjoke? It is Venjoke. So Venjoke wants a slipstream, but the thing is though, don't overtake Kevin, because if you overtake him, that will give him a penalty. Big Timmy's crashed in turn 3. Are we about to see the stricken car? No, we're not. He is out of the session, but I'm not quite sure where he parked up. Let's go over Kevin. 5th gear. We saw 4th gear from Sasha. You can definitely tell the different preferences and styles these drivers have through different parts of the racetrack. Let's see if he downshift. No, keeps the foot pinned to the floor. I typically downshift to get the extra rotation and retardation of the engine there, a bit of engine braking to go with it, and he's 200 up in the first sector as we flick our way now towards turn 13. Didn't really hook the inside line, but opened up beautifully on the outside too to carry the speed, and now coming through this turn 16, 17 complex we go. Let's see how he does. Down into 5th, gets close to the barriers. Look at the amount of curve he uses. And who's the Audi? Wow, almost got himself in a crash there to Kevin Sutterberg. He was not wanted to go off the racing line, did he, to try and waste any time? But Venjoke is still behind us. Kevin Sutterberg is down by only 1/100th of a second. Can he find a time up in the final set to make it up? Do you know what, Venjoke, I think he could find himself in the 28s. He's not too far away from Kevin, is he? All that battery he's been used as we head down towards turn 27. He's left Venjoke behind, so I think Venjoke has used too much battery in the first and middle part. But here comes Kevin Sutterberg, dashes towards the line. Is this an improvement? The answer is yes, he's done it. He has done it. Venjoke does not improve, but Kevin Sutterberg once again raised the bar for everybody to try and beat. Eric is down, he's just invalidated. What about Rotax? Rotax has also invalidated too. Ivan has also invalidated. Pink Panther is on allowed time. Every time I hear his name, I always think of that theme tune, that doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. I'm not going to sing anymore. But here goes Pink Panther now towards the finish line we go, or final corner we go. Let's see if the McLaren driver can progress up through the field. Let's see what he does now as he crosses the line. It is P7 only for him. He did improve, but not his position. Milan Langer, he's 6/10 up. He's on a flyer. And let's see, can he get himself inside the top 10? Here he comes. It is P10, just inside the top 10. He's beaten Robbie Jacobs in P11. And that is the grid set for qualifying. It is Kevin Sutterberg on pole position. We're just waiting for Ralph, who seems to be trundling on the track, just dithering somewhere on the track. Not quite sure what he's doing, but we're just waiting for him so far. But here's your boy, Kevin Sutterberg on pole position. Well done to Kevin on a staggering pole position. He's done it once again, has the Dutchman. Finding his feet finally. And Sasha, his nearest competitor, is in P2. Eric de Perec in P3 in the Ferrari. So Ferrari 1-3, they are very strong in terms of the lineup. Great pairing indeed. You know what, I can't wait for this race, you know. The chopping and changing, the repassing, passing. It's going to be a fascinating race in Jeddah. And Kevin Zollberg has once again delivered when it matters most, claiming his second consecutive pole position after winning in Belgium. And he'll be looking to convert that front row start into back-to-back victories. But the gaps are incredibly tight, meaning nothing is guaranteed over a 25-lap race. And Sasha starts alongside him on the front row after another excellent qualifying performance. He's been one of the most consistent drivers all season, and a circuit where track position is key. He'll fancy his chances of challenging Kevin down towards turn 1, and we'll see what Eric could do in P3 as well. He's quietly put together one of his strongest qualifying performances of the season and has a genuine opportunity to fight for a podium. I think his last win was back in Qatar against Kik, if I'm not mistaken. Kik is on holiday in the capital of Thailand, which is Bangkok. I know many times people I think everybody can experience the Bangkok feeling when you get hit in the balls, and it is not a nice feeling whatsoever when people say that. But hopefully he has a good time there in Bangkok. Not too much of a good time to be mixing with the not going to say it, but anyways, 4 5 lights. And we are underway in Jeddah. Kevin Zollberg gets a megastar off the line there as we see the Audi up the inside towards turn 1, but Kevin has the momentum to go around the outside. Has to spun. No, he saves the car. That's Milan Lager, who is dropping down the order of his teammate Rotax, who made contact. But the drivers file through. One by one we go. It is Kevin who leads them up the hill towards turn 4. Oh my goodness me, he almost lost it. Look at these guys jostling away from position. Some people are out of shape. Robbie Jacobs there and Pink Panther getting themselves in a skirmish between themselves. Rotax and Ivan there swapping places. I think Ivan has got forward damage already at this stage in the race as the Mercedes in the background picks up a penalty. That's Pink Panther who has picked up a penalty in this race, but we did see the Mercedes overshoot the chicane down there in towards turn 12 as the drivers then make their way through turn 13 we go, as Kevin has got Sasha and Eric right behind him too, and we'll see how the battery modes play out as well in this race. But Eric is certainly keeping his interest in Sasha ahead of him, and also Kevin Zollberg. The top 4 have pulled away as Pink Panther, Robbie Jacobs and Rotax and Ivan got themselves in a bit of carnage in the first sector of this race as they come through turn 21 and turn 22. The drivers coming through very quickly indeed, and Red Bull driver of Red Joke is right behind Ivan alienating in the Aston Martin, who is struggling with the lack of grip through the corners. No downforce, but we see Sasha is right at the back. The lead is coming through the final corner as we round off lap 1. This volatile first lap of the race has been chaotic indeed, unsurprisingly here in Jeddah. But Eric is about to make a move on Sasha, and Sasha is forced to overtake Kevin Zollberg. Here he comes through turn 1 we go, side by side between both of them. Let's see who gets out on top. They convert lines through turn 2 and turn 3. Who gets the better traction coming through the corner? It is Sasha who moves himself up into first place as Eric is there trying to pick up the pieces as he has to stay behind his teammates for the time being. So Pink Panther has lost the overtake. Ivan's in P6 with a broken front wing. So those guys are dropping backwards and detaching themselves from this from this slipstream train. So not good news for them. Pink Panther ideally needs to close up, but that down the inside goes Ryan Benink there, squeezing his way through on Eric. That was an audacious lunge, but has he done it? Yes, he has. What? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. And he's about to take on Kevin Zollberg too in the most unexpected place. He's done it. Got past them both. Unbelievable. I think Kevin Zollberg, now he's under pressure from his teammate. They get so close, those two there. So Kevin Zollberg is dropping backwards there. I think he's being very conservative and patient. We know how patient is Kevin Zollberg. I think he doesn't want to make contact. He knew that ultimately, if he kept his nose in there, contact would have been made. And once again, Ryan Benink is on the charge. He's about to overtake 3 of them in 1 lap to go from 4th to 1st, but no, stays behind. And here comes Kevin on the inside too, looking to regain P2 in this race. They go side by side through the final corner, but Ryan Benink slightly gets a better exit now as he's focused on the guy ahead of him of Sasha. The top 4 are super close in this race. Ryan pulls out on Sasha. Here comes Kevin. It's a double overtake with 3 abreast in towards turn 1. Ryan's in the middle. Sasha has to back out, and Kevin's trying to go around the outside, but Ryan Benink takes the lead of this race there, but Sasha is coming back. No way there on the outside. You're definitely not going around the outside. Ask Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda back in 2024, was it, or 5, when they made contact through there. Also ask Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel too. Those two collided through turn 4 back in 2021. So yeah, definitely don't go side by side through there, because one of you or both of you are about to go off the track. And Kevin now muscles his way to first place. This is crazy, you know. It's good to watch, but in terms of racing itself, you know, we all know why this is happening, because of the battery, you know. Every single driver uses battery in different parts of the racetrack, but it's still entertaining for me because it gives a lot of entertainment and action and unknowns, really. And here comes the Audi. Look at that, taking the lead. And here comes Eric then. He takes the lead in turn 21. It's a triple overtake. Can you believe it? The overspeed out of nowhere. But is he about to be exposed now on the straight and run ball with the lack of battery? He had to use a lot of it going from 4th to 1st. That was a lovely helicopter cam. And now these two are banging wheels, headed down towards turn 27. Sasha moves up into P2 ahead of Kevin Soderberg. Look at the Aston Martin there, almost squeezing Pink Panther in the wall. And now Kevin, once again, coming back at Sasha, and he puts himself into P2. This is crazy. With 3 abreast in the background, McLaren backs out of it wisely. Road Tax goes up into P5, goes deep in the corner. Van looking to do the under and over, but it makes contact with the Haas, and has to stay behind him. Do you know what? This second half of the train was about to catch up towards the top 4, but I think, oh no, contact's been made! Robbie Jacobs has put the McLaren in a spin. Pink Panther has tumbled down the order, and Robbie Jacobs there becoming a bit of a nuisance. Ryan Benink is right behind Sasha and will not go for the move. This is Lyco, which means these drivers are lifted before they break for the corner, which means they can try and regen some of that battery they've lost. Look at the flashing lights. All these guys, they know it is very important to save battery and manage it in the right place at the right time. Dumping the electrical battery as the 2 Ferraris there, and here comes Kevin Soderberg as he muscles past his teammates, and here comes the Audi once again. That's Sasha making a move on Eric as he puts himself back into P2 ahead of his fellow Dutch compatriot. Is it the top 6 of Dutch people? And here comes, who's that? Is it that Cadillac of Ryan? This is crazy, you know, because look at this. Oh my goodness me, I want to talk about what's going on, but at the same time, this battling is heating up and constantly changing. It's like a fruit machine. This is an enigma. It's completely unpredictable in this race. Lap 5 out of 25 to go. We've still got 20 laps left of this race to go. A lot of action to be undiscovered in this race. This is what I mean. So the leader could go from 1st to 4th because he doesn't want to use the battery too much, knowing that the guys behind have overtake available and doesn't want to drain his battery either. So we've seen a lot of people go from 1st to 4th, 2nd to 4th, you know, drop in one place and go back with the other. It's crazy how this thing works. Whereas in the ideal situation on the last game, these guys were stuck in the DRS train. 1st and 2nd place would have the say of changing the direction of the race, because those two could swap places, whilst the guys behind will be stuck in the DRS train. But no, on this occasion things are different. I don't like either of them, because being stuck in the DRS train is horrible, but relying on battery too is also horrible. Who's that going for a spin? Oh, Rotax. Rotax out of turn 13 has dropped it and has been relegated down to P10. He was doing such a great performance, and now Stevan is on his rear and overtaking him and puts himself up to P10. Back towards the front of the field. Things have settled down calmly now. I think these drivers are just settling into a rhythm, understanding things, but not yet, no. As I completely contradict myself, here comes Sasha. Will Ryan Benink fancy a move on the Ferrari driver? Do you know what? I respect these guys because they keep it nice and clean. Not going for any sort of silly overtakes, you know, not diving on the inside. They're making it interesting, but as long as they keep it to the space, it's all good. Now Kevin's under massive pressure from Sasha behind, and Ryan Benink, will he try and make it through abreast? No, he won't. And Sasha puts his nose there, but not going down the inside towards turn 1. So Rotax has pitted. We know he's broken his front wing, and that pit stop was going to be imminent anyway. So Kevin Zudderberg does need his train. Sasha in P2, Ryan in P3, Eric is in P4. I'm surprised with these guys fighting. The guys behind haven't caught up, but every single time the guys have caught up behind, they've made mistakes or squabbled or hit each other. And Ivan's struggling. He's got no downforce. You can see him there, not lifting a coaster, but massive steering input is necessary there for the Aston Martin driver. And we see once again in the breaker zone, Ryan Benink inching towards Sasha, getting super close, but not down the inside. Robbie Jacobs is on the hardcore power tyres as well for good measure, so he's going for a longer stint, and he's stuck behind Ivan in the Aston Martin. Does he have damage there? He does. He's missing his left front end plate, so it has gone, unfortunately, and you'll start to feel the effects of the car not responding, reluctant to turn in, and I feel like a boat as well, or shopping trolley. But Ryan Benink then still homing in on Sasha. I think these guys have started to just calm down a little bit in this phase of the Grand Prix, not squabbling too much. They started to build up a massive gap over. Here comes, Eric for 1 second. I thought he down the inside, but he backs off. And now Ryan Benink is on the inside of Sasha. Contact between Eric and Ryan Benink. Just slight contact there as Eric was sideways out of the corner. Here we go on lap 7 down the main straight once again. It's been just a chaotic race, not a chaotic, but an eventful race, it must be said. Fireblaze now up into P6 ahead of Ivan. Where's Milan? He's dropped into P16 on new set of hardcore power tyres. So both Haasers have fallen at the first hurdle here in the race, and unfortunately down 16th and 18th. So from hero to zero back in Belgium, Milan Langer did finish in 6th place, but unfortunately here in Jeddah, he's dropped down to 16th place as Rotax, who spun earlier on, has fallen into P18. They're both on the hardcore power tyres. Off the track goes the Aston Martin there. That's Ivan. Ivan's struggling there as he constantly just loses grip on downforce. You can see in there massive steering inputs indeed. The car understeering and the tyres constantly overheated too. That's what happens if you put so much energy and force in the corners. The tyres overheat. The thermal degradation gets worse and worse, and it just becomes horrible for you. The experience, the sliding too, no grip at all. Front wheel damage is horrible, as you know, on any circuit. Especially at the speed as well, and this circuit, because the first sector is literally full of corners, and that's where you need the downforce to get the car pointy and turned in. But unfortunately, it has no downforce through there. He's losing so much time, but he's not pitted just yet in this race. He wants to continue to extend to the hardcore power tyres. Lap 8 out of 25 then, the Audi of Sasha pulls out of Kevin as he puts himself back in the lead of the Grand Prix, but he is quite low on battery, whereas Kevin Zunderberger saves some. Look at Fireblaze. Fireblaze is on a charge, up into P5. After a dismal qualifying, started down in P12, he's moved up 7 places and now up into P5. That was a double overtake from Fireblaze, well done to him. The Dutchman is surging his way through the field. I think it could be a bit of a stretch, you know. It could be a bit of a tall order, catching the top 4. The gap is 3.8 seconds. So I don't think Fireblaze has the outright pace to catch the top 4. A miracle needs to happen if he wants a chance. But Robbie Jacobs, I thought for 1 second might try one around the outside, but thinks wisely of it and stays behind him. Let's take a breather, shall we? Because this has been, wow, a fast-paced race with lots of changes happening in this race. The pendulum keeps swinging one way or another, and things just unfolding very rapidly in this race. 19 drivers are still in the race. No safety cars, no VSCs. Things are playing steady for the time being, although things could change in a heartbeat. We've seen plenty of times where safety cars completely change the trajectory of a race. Robbie Jacobs there. Both Red Bull drivers on the hardcore power tyres. And look at this then, down towards the breaker zone. This is Kevin on the attack, and Eric has dropped back as we head down towards turn 27 we go. What is the reason for Eric dropping back there? He's losing time, but gains it back. I think these guys are side by side in the breaker zone. Here comes Kevin Zunderberg side by side with Sasha. Is Ryan Benink about to get involved? He's not. He stays behind as we follow our way down towards turn 1. We saw this back in the Belgian Grand Prix. Eric struggling in terms of longevity. and I wonder if his mini compound tyres are starting to reach the end of their performance. He starts to slide around underneath the Ferrari. Some drivers are better on managing tyres than others, and I wonder if Eric there is just struggling now with these mini compound tyres, losing grip. It is lap 9 out of 25. Mini compound tyres at this stage will start to go off, and I wonder if my some pit stops imminent very, very soon in this race. Strategy will be very important, but the undercuts could be very powerful, so watch out for that as we see Robbie Jacobs and Ben Joke and Fireblaze all in battle for P5. Ben Joke in 6th place, doing a decent job on his return, although he did return back in Monaco and Qatar. But the first time I've seen him so far in this season in commentating, and putting on a good show, keeping it clean. Thankfully, we know what he's like in terms of antics, but hopefully the Dutchman keeps it clean. You know, I'm brutally honest. You know, I will say my opinion, and I do think their joke sometimes can be a bit too much, but hopefully he's keeping it clean now. Ryan Benink is behind Sasha again, coming through turn 27. No moves going down towards the final corner. These guys remaining in stationary for the time being. Ben Joe gets ahead of Robbie Jacobs. Up to P5 he goes. Is anybody thinking about a pit stop? The answer is yes. Eric is pitting. He's the first to blink in this train. And let's see how effective the undercut is, as he's the first one out of this bunch of Gagala cars to pit. And he's got to make his outlap up. The outlap for Eric is going to be absolutely critical. Where will he rejoin? Is it in clean air? It has to be. And we see the Mercedes F1 fan, the Irishman coming through. Oh no! Is that a safety? Oh my goodness me, a safety car has been deployed. The worst possible timing for Eric de Peric in P8. He'll be absolutely fuming. That means the guys in front of Ryan Benink, Sasha and Kevin Soderberg will be able to have a cheap pit stop and potentially rejoin in front of him. He'll be absolutely devastated. That's the worst possible timing, COD timing, as he usually preferred to. I think he still rejoins the P4, hopefully. I really hope that for Eric's sake the damage is not too harsh for him. If he rejoins the P4, then fair enough, he's still in the battle for P1 and P2, so let's see if he can leapfrog the Red Bull drivers. Ben Joke is ahead of Robbie Jacobs. I think those guys might have been slightly hindered as well, because they're on the hard compound tyres. They want to go for a longer stint, but unfortunately the safety cars came on the worst possible time for them. So those guys just switched over to the compound tyres a bit too early, in my opinion, in this race. I'll tell you what it does do though, it bunches everybody up. We've had a massive field spread from P4 downwards, but thankfully in this race now, the field will be condensed once again, and I really hope the guys who have dropped backwards in the first half of the race can claw their way back and fight. And Van just pitted too, he's on the P13, but luckily he did change his front wing. So, a no-brainer, these guys will pit at the end of this lap. Kevin, Sasha and Ryan Benink, don't speed in the pit lane. It'd be a silly thing to do if you speed in the pit lane. I've seen on many occasions people speed in the pit lane under a safety car too, for good measure. And I really hope nobody does that. So I think Eric should be in P4. Do you remember Sergio Perez in 2022 Saudi Arabia? He took pole position, didn't he? And he was leading the field ahead of Carlos Sainz, Leclerc and Verstappen. And when he pitted, guess who crashed? Nicholas Latifi crashed in the final corner. And it was such bad time for Sergio Perez, because he just pitted, and unfortunately for him, the safety car came out and completely wiped out his advantage at the start of the Grand Prix. Then we left between Charles Leclerc and Verstappen. Leclerc and Verstappen had a mighty battle as they were playing mind games with each other, swapping DRS, but eventually Max Verstappen, the Dutchman, came out on top to win in Jeddah for the first time in 2022. Leclerc was second, and I believe it was Sainz that finished in P3. I don't think Perez got the podium that year in 2022. Correct me if I'm mistaken or not. But the following year, I think Perez did win the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, because Verstappen had a failure in qualifying. He started in P10, I believe it was. Alonso took the lead, but Perez got back ahead of him. I think it was Perez who won in Saudi Arabia 1 year later. Well, Saudi Arabia, as we know, first introduced in 2021. I remember a lot of people saying about Jeddah it could be a dangerous track, and it is a dangerous track in terms of not getting hit by a missile. But in terms of a street circuit, 27 corners, 6.2 kilometers long, a lot of people had a lot of speculation, and there's a few people not really happy about this because it had red flags, safety cars in the first race in Jeddah. But it has calmed down recently as well. I don't think Jeddah was that spectacular in 2025. Oscar Piastri won ahead of Verstappen, and I've not really recalled any great moments after that because there has been a bit of a boring race. But it's because of the cars. They were too wide, a turbulent air, the car get close to each other, and the engine was overheating too. But on these regulations of the cars are a lot smaller indeed. Sorry, to correct myself, Verstappen started 15th in qualifying after a drive shaft failure. So we did start 15th, but still finished in second place. Of course, in 2024, that's when Oliver Behrman jumped in the Ferrari to finish in P7. What a spectacular debut for him as well. The 18-year-old at the time stood up for Ferrari and finished 7th place, immediately pressing everybody in the paddock. And he's doing such a great job so far in F1. But at the moment, Haas are not looking very strong like they used to be in the first few races. They've gone for a little bit of a setback, have Haas, which is a shame. I've always been a Haas fan, you know. Always been a Haas fan. I love to see them do well. Do you know the underdogs like Haas, Williams? I always like to see them do well. And it's a shame because it's a shame that Haas can't score any more points. When was the last time they scored points? I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. So we lost one race, one driver in this race. It is Quink the King down in P19 after a crash which caused a safety car. We're just waiting for Timmy in the background to catch up, and the race can resume once again. Neymar Jr. is in P6 in the race report, so he's leapfrogged a few people. Started in P14 and now up into P6. Fireblaze dropped backwards, you know, in P7, so I wonder how he got jumped by Neymar. Because I thought Fireblaze was ahead, but something must have happened in the pit lane for Neymar to get past him. So Neymar Jr. has moved up a couple of places. Tomorrow is England versus Argentina. That's going to be a match to watch. Do you know what? I am quite, as an Englishman myself, as you guys know, I am quite nervous for the football match tomorrow because I reckon Argentina might have a slight advantage and could possibly win if I'm being pragmatic and realistic about it. So obviously I hope England win, but I've got a slight inkling feeling that we could lose to Argentina. So fingers crossed we don't, and we'll see if Spain and France, who will be the final between us guys as well. Will England win the World Cup? I don't think so, to be honest with you. You know, we've always been into the semi-finals, the finals, but unfortunately we haven't had the hand of the trophy since 1966, the last time we won the World Cup. Argentina won the World Cup in 2022, and I'm begging that doesn't happen again. I would rather have Spain, France, anybody else to win the World Cup than Argentina. No offence to people from Argentina, but, you know. I'm not a big fan of Argentina fans either, you know, because we saw what happened with Jack Doohan when he got replaced by Colin Pinto. You know, the amount of abuse Jack Doohan sustained was unnecessary and completely uncalled for, and a few people fabricated some stories as well. I really did feel sorry for Jack Doohan with death threats from the Argentinian fans. They pushed it too far. They are quite toxic, like community. No offence to them, well, fully offence, but yeah, I remember watching that Drive to Survive and seeing Jack Doohan, you know, with the Argentinian fans trying to push him out. Don't get me wrong, Franco Colapinto's done well, but has he done enough? I think he got a contract for the next few seasons at F1. We'll see how Colapinto does. But so far, Alpine are doing a great job in F1 with their resurgence back to 5th place. But enough of real life F1, let's go back to sim racing F1, shall we? For the fake F1, as we now make our way down towards the final corner we go. The safety car will drive away from the pack and peel in the pit lane. Here we go then, a nice view as we get racing once again here in Jeddah. The fireworks will go off And we'll see what happens going down towards turn one. Kevin Soderberg is leaving it very late, not giving us history for the guys behind. And off away we go then for the restart of Saudi Arabia. Has Kevin Soderberg judged this to perfection? Eric and Venjo going wheel to wheel in the breakers. And here comes Sasha down the inside, but no, backs out of it. But what about Eric? He's been overtaken by all contact. It's a massive continual effect. Eric's out of shape. And Venjo is up to P4 on those mini compound tyres. He's looking really racy so far. The advantage will come his way at this stage of the race, but later on his tyres will drop off. So he's got to capitalise on his mini compound tyres. The only thing that Venjo can hope for is another safety car. The safety cars came at the wrong possible time there for the Red Bull drivers on the mini compound tyres. And it'd be looking good for them so far at this stage with their grip. But when it comes to later on the Grand Prix, he'll be struggling, and so will Robbie Jacobs there. So the drop off will happen in about 7 or 8 laps time for those two boys on the mini compound tyres. Milan gets past Ralph. The Swedish driver has been overtaken by the Dutchman as he's been shuffled down into P14. Ralph did pick up a podium last season. I think it was the, where was it? It was the Chinese Grand Prix. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it was somewhere there. And it's normal resolutions reserves in this race with these guys all close together once again in this race. And look at Ryan Benink and Sasha there, and look at Eric as well, looking to try and take back fourth place away from Venjuk. He's done it, he's mastered it, he's got himself back into fourth place. And well within this fight, we know that Eric was trying to perform the undercut on these three ahead of him, but the safety car came at the wrong time. But at least it's still in P4. Could have been worse for Eric, it could have been jumped by other guys, but luckily still in P4. And down the inside goes Venjo towards turn one. Couldn't make it stick and has to stay behind him, but with those better mini compound tyres, will he have the switch back? Look at this, Sasha goes through and puts himself into first place, but these two go side by side in unconventional place to overtake, and Eric squeezes his way through. Neither driver willing to back down, and that's the consequence of that. So consequently, Eric still remains in P4, but that could have gone a lot worse, you know. If you go side by side through there, neither of you are guaranteed to make it out off on the track. But look at this battle. Here we go. Multi-car scrap here for P7. These guys have been well and truly detached out of this battle. Look at this. The Aston Martin, the Audi, the Red Bull, the Racing Bull, all involved in one big kerfuffle for P7. This is incredible indeed. Oh my goodness me. That's so tight through turn 16. But the Red Bull is the leader of this train. That is Robbie Jacobs, who hasn't progressed on these big compound tyres. He's recessed, is in P6, sorry, as we watch the guys in the front of the field. I have no idea who could win this Jeddah Grand Prix. Could be any of the top four. The reason why I don't say top five is because Venjo is on the mini compound tyres. Look at this then, headed down towards turn 27, the Cadillac, trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari and the Audi there. Look at the switchback from Ryan Benink, gets past the Ferrari, and he gets past the Cadillac too. Brilliant exit for Ryan Benink. He's up into first place, but the two are immediately on the fight back as we see Kevin Soderberg on the inside of the Cadillac into towards turn one, clears the apex, but no, Ryan Benink has the inside line for the next corner as they constantly change for convert lines. Ryan Benink is back up into first place. I could watch this all day, you know. It's a shame that the guys in P6 are too far away. The gap is 3.7 seconds. How on earth did they end up so far away? Look at this then. Headed down towards turn 4, Fireblaze and Rotax. Oh my goodness me. Rotax kept his foot in there and still remains wheel to wheel with Fireblaze, who gives him a bit of a shove. And they're still going side by side. This is unbelievable. And this contact. Fireblaze aggressively chopped in on Rotax there, and Rotax had to fall down the order. And Fireblaze, for some reason, is giving way towards the Haas and his teammate. So what's going on there? Fireblaze slowed down and Milan Langer went to P10. Oh, I know why. I didn't realise who the driver was in P10, but it is Milan Langer, who's now right behind Neymar Jr. Everybody. He's dropped from P6 to P9 now. So back towards the front of the field. 9 laps left to go in this race to try and settle and decide who will win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. No overcuts, no undercuts. It's a straight race all the way to the end. The safety car has decided the strategy, and therefore these guys level playing field on the hard compound tyres. No advantage for either of them except Eric's on one lap all the tyres. Will that make a difference? Might not do, as Robbie Jacobs and Neymar go side by side at the breakers. There we go. Robbie Jacobs just gets ahead, and Sasha is right behind and ahead of Ryan Benink. Is Eric fancy his chances around the outside? Yes, he does. And now it's the inside for turn 2. and Ryan Benink should have a better exit on the outside of the turn, but he does. Rotax has retired from this race. He is out of the Grand Prix. The Haas is gone, and the Cadillac goes through as well. I thought for 1 second of the Cadillac, and can you see the full map? The Haas to me, the Haas of Rotax, it's similar colours, and I thought Milan Langer was done the P17, and it's Mick Timmy in the Cadillac who was dropped backwards massively in this race too, for good measure. So it's a shame for him. Who knows how this order will be decided after the race. It could be anybody's game. Who plays outright, who's in the best position at the time, and when and where drivers decide to deploy the battery. Being in first place is probably the worst place to be because of overtake mode available for the rest of the lap. The guy ahead of you will not have the advantage of that. So I don't know where drivers could be. I don't know who could win this race, but Red Joke is still there in P5, but his tyres will shortly come to the end of their peak performance, and unfortunately he could drop away. He's still pressurising Eric, as Eric is on the tail of Ryan Benink, the Norwegian Dutchman in the way of the Dutchmans. A bit of a wiggle and a smash to the wall, and now Eric fancies the chances again with the Cadillac, with more battery, use the battery, and puts himself into P3 ahead of Ryan Benink. A small mistake has dropped into P4 as Sasha now claims the lead of this race. How many times have these guys gone back and forth? Look at this battle down here as well. That is Pink Panther, Fireblaze and Robbie Jacobs. Fireblaze is alongside and ahead of Robbie Jacobs too, for good measure. Which is a shame about Fireblaze because he was high as P6 at one point, now he's P11, so it hasn't worked in his favour. And I think he got caught out by the safety car with all that kerfuffle going down there. Can you believe it? The race is almost coming to a close, and yet we've got to decide who will win this race. I have no idea who could win this race in Saudi Arabia. As the drivers file through turn 16 and 17 we go. Kevin Soderberg on the prowl, so is Eric and Ryan Benink. Will the two Ferraris work together in harmony to try and get the best possible result? Or is it pride only for those two? Look at Eric, they're almost surging and pushing his teammates through the corner, turn 21 and turn 22, and all over the back of the gearbox of his fellow Ferrari teammate and fellow Dutchman. Here he comes. Eric is side by side with his teammate, but Kevin there just stays ahead on this occasion as we head through turn 27 once again. The drivers on the main straight. The guys separated by under a second, under 5/10 between the top four. Incredible indeed. That's how close it is in a Jeddah. As we now go down towards turn 1. They're a bit too far back to make an overtake, but Cadillac has hit the back of Eric. That's Ryan Benink, who has just misjudged his braking point and went into the back of Eric. Thankfully came out unscathed with no damage sustained to that Cadillac. So keep on going and see what he could do there. Last week we had a top 2 fight between Ivan and Kevin Soderberg. This week we've got a 5-way fight between Kevin, Sasha, Eric, Ryan Benink and Ven Joke. The top 10, or Dutchies I believe it is, headed down towards turn 13. We just saw Eric sniffing a chance up the inside of turn 13, but on this occasion does not go for it just yet. I completely have no idea who could win this race. Maybe, just maybe, as we see the Cadillac of Ryan Benink there just sizing up Eric for P3. You're under constant pressure, you know. You've got to think on your feet all the time, looking backwards and forwards, you know, thinking about overtaking the guy in front of you, but also defending from the guy behind you, you know. It's just high IQ racing. You can be very smart as well, very tactical, very methodical in terms of Grand Prix racing, thinking in front of you and thinking behind you as well, attacking and defending at the same time. It's just so much pressure. And how much pressure can you take before you brake? If this was me in this situation, I don't know what I'd do, because I usually crack under pressure a lot. But in terms of this high intensity of pressure, I would have broken by now. Staban goes on the inside in the attack, in towards turn 1, and he puts himself into P6. Then the driver, who is coached by Ven Joke, and Ven Joke is still hovering on the back of this battle, but I wonder how long it will take for this Nico Fantastic to drop off. It's really nice to see the Dutchman here in P5. But unfortunately he's on the wrong tyre, and I believe this tyre will fade towards the end too. Kevin Zederberg there, super close to the back of Sasha. This is great sportsmanship. And Sasha goes wide through turn 13, and Kevin sneaks one on the inside there, but Sasha with a better momentum around the outside there at turn 13 just stays in front, but the pressure is starting to ramp up between these drivers. Barely anything separating these guys, finite margins. One thing I can say for sure is that all four of these drivers have shown great racecraft, great respect. We're not seeing any of these drivers push each other off the track. We could see that later on, but at this stage, we made it this far without any sort of contact. This is the racing I want to see in terms of sportsmanship and respect, but not the right way racing. Yo-yoing around every time. Here we go, down towards the breakers. Here we go. Look at all these guys there, just trying to sort themselves out of the corner. Turn 27, and around the outside goes the Cadillac of Ryan, but he's boxed in. First, Sasha moves left to cover off Kevin Zederberg, and now he's boxed in. But Kevin Zederberg has better straight line speed than the Cadillac. As we head down towards turn 1, they remain in formation as they were previously. Sasha still in first place, Kevin in P2, massive wheel spin there for good measure. And Boat Joke has finally been dropped out of this battle, so I think his tyres are on a nice edge and have given up the ghost. This is the time period where we'll see the mini compound tyres drop away. He's still in a second, but I believe that gap will increase marginally as the laps go on. Here comes Weiberning once again, side by side with Kevin Zederberg, and now up into second place. Eric takes on his teammate, so Kevin Zederberg, no, that was the other way around, sorry, as Kevin Zederberg does defend from his teammate Eric De Peric, and this is bringing Sasha Veggio back into play. I really wish that more drivers in this field were involved in this battle. Imagine swapping around with like a yo-yo machine, constantly fluctuating and changing and going crazy in terms of the time tower. We've had one safety car in this race, thanks to the expense of Quince the King, who was retired early doors in this race, caused safety car on lap 9, I believe it was, and has ruined some people's strategies, but you can't predict when the safety car comes out. Who has crashed in the background? But we've got to be watching Kevin Zederberg now take on the Cadillac, and here comes Eric down the inside too, shuffling Ryan Benning down to P4, but Ryan Benning's not giving up. They both made contact, and they're both a bit wobbly out of the final corner. And here we go once again between the main guys at the front of the the pecking order. And Eric is going down the inside towards turn 1 there. Ryan Benning goes wide, but has the inside for turn 2. There's contact, and you can see that Eric is really struggling for traction out of turn 3. Even the hardcore part has the stage, not getting a grip they want. Milan Langer gets himself up into P8 ahead of Neymar Jr. Everybody. This has been a great drive for Milan Langer. He dropped backwards, didn't he, after contact the first open laps of the Grand Prix, where he broke his front wing, and now he's inside the top 8. So that's a great comeback of resurgence from Milan Langer. He'll be absolutely jubilant with that result. I don't think jubilant is the right word, but a bit happy, must be said. But who will be jubilant at the end of the race? Because whoever wins deserves it. They've fought hard and played it fair as well, made the right strategy calls, defended beautifully, and overtook at the right time too. But I don't want to be first place on the last of the Grand Prix. I'm so glad I'm not involved in this battle, because I would have broken by now. But these guys keeping their cool, keeping their mojo, and showing why the high tier caliber drivers, showing why Division 1 these drivers deserve to be here, and showing why the PSGL drivers, some of them are. Eric, Kevin Zederberg are in the same tier in PSGL, F3. Here, look at this, Sasha not using any battery on the straight, and Kevin pulls alongside Yardi once again as he takes on for the lead of the Grand Prix. Will he go deep in the corner? He does, but scoops it up and stays in first place. No overtake for him now. The blue light has gone, and Sasha has been given overtake now. And will he use that to effect to get past Kevin Zederberg? We're level pegging down towards turn 1. It's a drag race in towards turn 1. Who's brave on the brakes? They're squeezed each other. Oh my goodness me. Sasha almost spun there, and Sasha retains the lead. Glowstick is retired. He has crashed out on the track. No safety car. Oh, there's the K. Oh my goodness. Contact between Ryan and Kevin Zederberg. And there's more contact. Oh, it has ended in dramatic fashion. Oh, Kevin Zederberg and Ryan made contact. Ryan's really struggling. Veg Joke is right behind too for good measure. Veg Joke has been put on the curb by Ryan Benning. Is there any damage sustained to Ryan Benning's car? He just disappeared into a wedge. And once again, Ryan Benning and Kevin made contact in the worst possible place. And Sasha leaves ahead of Eric in P2. I thought for 1 second we might see a Vedjo podium, but I think that Ryan cut him off and stays in P3. Ryan was squirming for traction, and now Kevin Zunderberg is under major pressure from a van right behind. Aren't Robbie Jacobs, no, not Robbie Jacobs, sorry, isn't Ryan Benink and Kevin in the same party as each other? Oh, Kevin, poor Kevin. You know, it was sizing up to be a good one between the two, and now it's down towards Eric and Sasha to win this race. And Sasha is starting to bridge the gap towards Eric, which could be bad news for Eric indeed, to lose that overtake and allow Sasha to pull away. So he needs to regain back some lost ground if he can win, if he wants to win this race. A multi-car scrap going down towards the braking zone there between Ivan, Kevin, Stevan and Milan. So contact has been finally made, and it took 23 laps for something to happen and erupt into chaos. Stevan around the outside of Kevin. I bet Kevin Zunderberg has had enough Audis for one day. He's been trying to pass an Audi and defend for an Audi for the whole race, and now he's got the second Audi to contend with. Oh, Eric, don't be doing mistakes like that, mate. It's costly. He hasn't got overtake available to him. He's really gunning for it. How is he 7 tons up in the first sector? Did you see that? He was 7 tons up in the first sector despite being on 13.5 hardcore power tyres. So it really shows you how slowly these guys are going in that train to set a personal best in the first sector by 7/10 of a second. I think he said I think my eyes deceived me. I think he said 7/10 down. Milan Langer now over to P7. Stevan is pressurising Ivan. I don't think Vedjo in P4 has got any response to Ryan Benink in P3. No response there because his mini compound tyres are just giving up the ghost there, so no grip for him, unfortunately. Do you know what? I got to respect, got to say for Vedjo, respect for him. On his return back to finish in P4, kept it cleanly, and to finish in 4th place is a mega result because the guys behind you think have a tyre advantage, but no. Vedjo has managed to keep clear of the guys behind as Leonard has retired from the race, unfortunately, in the Mercedes. Overtake has been given towards Eric, but he's low on battery, very low indeed. He's not able to. Oh, it's the last lap of the Grand Prix. 6.2 kilometers left to go in this race. Neymar has overtaken Milan Langer. The championship leader of Sasha is in the best possible seat. He's avoided the chaos and the drama. He let it evolve behind him. And Sasha was in the right place at the right time to capitalise on the mistakes of Kevin Zunderberg and Ryan Benink, got too close and pitched each other in the wall and ended in tears between those two. A lot of championship points will be lost for those two indeed. And once that happened, he was able to clear and get in front and build the gap over Eric of 1.3 seconds. So remains unchallenged on the front of the field as Sasha. He's done such a relatively good job in terms of attacking, defending, managing, and in battle too. He has shown no signs of weakness whatsoever in battle. But Eric is closing down, you know. He does have overtake. The gap is 8/10 of a second, but I think he's well and truly far away to make any sort of impression on Sasha. Despite the overtake available to Sasha, oh, never mind then. He is out of any sort of chance of winning the Grand Prix. He has used all of his luck, and he has got himself a 3-second time penalty in this race. But back towards Sasha. Well, this man has been on a charge since the get-go from the first race of the season. He won the first 2 races and now rounds the final corner once again. He took a podium back in Belgium and he sits on top once again here in Saudi Arabia. It is Sasha who wins the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Eric in P2 with a 3-second time penalty. Ryan Benink P3 and Vedjo finishes 4th. Look at this. Stevan gets out of Ivan. Stevan moves up into P5 ahead of Aston Martin by 400 of a second, so we got out-dragged towards the line he went. And that will end the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Sasha on top once again. Well done to him in the Audi. He truly deserves it. The Dutchman has not put a foot wrong in this race. He kept it all clean and he watched the carnage unfold. Let's get the ball rolling in terms of podium interviews. We can't interview Ryan Benink because he is on PC, so we can't unfortunately cross-play there. So let's get very joking, shall we? Hopefully, I can hear from the race winner of Sasha. He usually does join the podium interviews, and I've got him. I think only you I'll interview, Sasha, because Eric is a bit shy and doesn't want to speak English sometimes, so it's going to be just you. Sasha, congratulations on an enthralling, interesting, eventful race this has been for you. You've been in the thick of it as well throughout the whole race. You've been under massive pressure every single lap, bit by bit, pass and repass. Explain this to us. What was the strategy this whole race, and how did you manage to figure out all the way to the end?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super happy with this race. Just excellent racing by the whole top four, actually. I mean, Eric, Ryan and Kevin were also just spot on. We had some really good battles. Unfortunately for them, it went wrong in the second last lap. But yeah, I think the key from strategy this race was just to keep your head calm, you know. Don't fight too hard for positions, because then those sort of things happen, which happened with Ryan and Kevin. I mean, it's a street circuit, so you always just have to be really careful with passing and that sort of stuff.
With the new dynamic of this game, you find yourself in first place, then you get shuffled back into fourth. How annoying is it as well? Because you know when you get back into first place, you've got to save battery, then all of a sudden you're back into P4. So fundamentally, primarily, how does this affect your mindset, being shuffled and, you know, overtaken and re-overtaken?
Yeah, well, weirdly enough, I'd rather be like fourth than first in like the whole race, because yeah, you can just save more battery than when you're leading, it feels like for me, and also a bit of tire saving, of course, which can help for the end of the race. So I think that's just the right mindset you have to have on this game, because I think every race in this season will be a four-way battle for the lead.
Are you enjoying these new regulations in terms of fighting? Because you have been really on the charge so far, and pick up the pieces as well. So are you enjoying this configuration?
Definitely yes.
And also as well, your thoughts on being a PS4 driver.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's a great feeling to be in such a high tier, in like the highest competition that there is. And yeah, I think it's just, how do you say it? Yeah, just no words for it. I mean, it's insane, the progression I've made throughout the last few years. And yeah, hard work pays off with these kind of rewards. So I'm really happy.
Ja, precies. Goed gedaan vandaag, Model.
Dankjewel, maat.
And how do you feel for the Mexican Grand Prix? It is the F2 cars, by the way.
Yeah, well, F2 cars are gonna be with the old handling model, of course, with the 2025 cars. So people that have become, yeah, let's say, washed on this with this handling, they might have a better chance with the F2 cars. So also no battery, really different cars. Yeah, I think there will be it would be a really fun race. I think just no battery, a lot of people fighting for the win. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you very much, Sasha. Pleasure to talk to you as always, mate. And well done winning the race, and well done on extending your championship. Are you taking this championship one by one, one race at a time? Sorry, instead of focusing on the championship itself.
Yeah, just one by one. I mean, it's JSR. Anything can happen, really. So I think the right mindset is just go one by one. Yeah, we'll see if we can keep extending, and then throughout the end, we'll see if we can be crowned champion.
Well, thank you very much, mate. Pleasure to talk to you, and well done today. Go enjoy it, and that'll be the end of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So that is it then. Join us back for Mexico next week on the 21st of July at the same time as usual, 7 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Dutch time, and we'll see you all later for Mexico next week in the high altitude where the engines will suffer. See you all later. Goodbye for now.